Our world changes, updates, and when one thing gets updated, the complete world gets outdated. And that's beautiful because that is the basis of evolution. When one small thing gets updated, it promotes everything to update itself to come to the same level. Change, it's one of the most beautiful words. And till a few centuries back, the definition of change was more of having offices and buildings in every city of the world. But today, those buildings are ones and offices are zeros. Today, ones and zeros are buildings and offices, and a world can be conquered from within a room. Anyone, anytime can change the world from within a room. And that's nothing less than beautiful. We all hold enough power in our pockets, in our phones, in our laptops to change the entire world. And it is a responsibility to do it. But this is not actually very new. Bill Gates, Bill Gates changed the world from his garage. J.K. Rowling changed the world from a cafe. And that's not really new. We've ha- we as a civilization have had some amazing people who've put our civilization to where it is right now, all the way from path-breaking scientists to amazing novelists, and most of them never had the resources when they started, yet they did, and that's beautiful because today we have something which no one ever did before. This is one theory I really believe in. If you change before you have to, you are called a pioneer. If you wait until you're forced to change, you only go down in history books. That's the only place where you're remembered. Change is something you need to start, not wait for. Because when you wait for change, change surpasses you, change overtakes you. But the only place you're remembered is history books. By the way, they're really boring. I had an examination the other day. Believe me, I'm not, they're really boring. Okay. So, moreover, it's beautiful because today we all have something which no one ever did before. When Leonardo da Vinci started painting, he did not have DeviantArt. When Steve Wozniak started coding, he did not have GitHub. And when Charlie Chaplin started going viral, he did not have YouTube. We have resources that no civilization ever did before us. And that is nothing less than beautiful because that enables us, empowers us, and endorses us to go and create a change which has never been created before. We all hold more power than what was required, than what the President of the United States held 20 years back in terms of computation power, not in guns and ammunition. Yeah. And another thing, I am really bad at humor, so if I crack a bad joke, you need to laugh. You see it. Cool. So yeah, and I use the word cool and dude very often. Hashtag being teenager. So, so it's beautiful because we all have enough power to create any change we wish to see in the world. And somewhere, creating change is not a favor we do to the world. It's a responsibility that most people step back from. Everyone who's born on this planet has that responsibility to create a change. But most people decide to step back from it, to not stand up to it. And it is an eternal responsibility we must undertake. It's never a favor to do something good for the planet, it's a responsibility. Our society is made of change makers, and each of us contain that change maker within us, which we very often try putting down by deciding to accept the conventional, what and not think of our own ways, our own methodologies, even if the conventional does not make any sense. And that is something that's deep built into our DNA. Today, I remember this time when I started my first company. I was 10, and I did not know what I was doing. I was in this dilemma. I was under this theory that whether I was just going and wasting my time or whether I was doing something more. I did not know if what I was doing was ridiculous or was it right. But there was one thing I knew. I wanted to create change. I wanted to do something through which this every time someone sees it, they remember me. I wanted to create that change. I wanted to create an application which I can see someone using in a train when I'm sitting beside them. I wanted to do something to make this planet slightly better. And that's where my companies began. So I remember K-Star, which happens to be my apparently most successful venture, started as a small project which I dreamt of changing the way e-commerce happened. I was able to see. In fact, we all see these sellers who send you 50 photos on your phone. I saw this on my mom's phone, by the way, and they expect you to select from one of the 50 photos and reply back, and then once you've selected the product, do a bank transfer. And there's a huge process involved there. And that's where there was a major difference between what the world was providing and what India needed. While worldwide customization had become a commodity, everyone wanted the ability to change everything how it appears. Within India, people did not want the ability to change everything, but they just wanted the ability to do the basics because their phones were really bad. Their phones were so bad that they couldn't play Candy Crush. And if anyone's playing Candy Crush right now, please don't. Yeah, thank you for laughing on my bad jokes. Okay, there was a laughter they expected. Yeah, I don't want to feel like Mark Zuckerberg cracking a privacy joke, please. So I really feel my sense of humor is improved. Okay. Uh, Coming back, so using K-Star, anyone could sell online in a matter of minutes. We made it so simple by using multiple algorithms, AI, and I started coding K-Star by every day I used to come back from school and I used to spend the next 6 hours on my computer trying to code this. Today we've grown massively. We have more than 100,000 users, and we've had a massive seller base. And anyone in a few minutes can simply log on to K-Star, and within a matter of seconds, he'll be online on their own independent store. Moreover, after being online, once they start getting orders, the money goes into their bank accounts, and one of our partners, that's FedEx and Blue Dart, come and collect them from their doorstep and deliver it to their customer. We wanted to make it simple and possible for anyone to sell online independently on their own stores with their own branding without having some massive Amazon ads and beside the ads having the recommended products of their competitors. We wanted to enable them to sell independently in an India-friendly manner, and that's where K-Star began. While I've always had felt a very deep attachment to the education system, and that was very negatively, in fact. I remember I could never get along. I was very often, so when I did my first TED talk and I returned back to school, I got beaten up really bad, and it really hurt me to see what the education system was doing. I've spoken in front of MBA graduates, and I was surprised to not even get one single question or one nice answer. Reason being, and at the same time, I've spoken in front of sixth graders, and I've got the best responses I've ever heard. What our education system was doing is it was putting a genocide to creativity. And that's where I decided to take a major stand. So Comp Academy allows you to learn anything in 90 minutes or less. It's not a new fact that hardly anyone finishes an online course that's more than 5 hours. In fact, 90% of people don't even make it to one-third of the course. And that being the fact, it's really sad to see that most online courses never end up being completely viewed, and there's a lot of half information, and half information is way more dangerous than no information because it puts you in a state to claim something but not be completely sure of what you're claiming. And that's what was happening. So with Comp Academy, anyone could learn a new skill in 90 minutes or less on their computers within schools. We've implemented this within schools. So anyone, now when a child wants to learn photography and he walks up to his teacher and asks, and the teacher is an expert in physics, and asks the teacher to teach him photography, the teacher is not an expert in photography. Now the child goes on to YouTube, and he searches on YouTube more about it, and he comes up with a ton of videos which are useless. Why? Because of the sponsored algorithm. And therefore, creativity starts to go down. the want of learning starts to go down. And that's where we decided to get in touch with the best experts all around the world, create nano courses, curate nano courses, endorse them together, and get them into the system. So when a child wants to learn something new, it's possible. And it is present, and it is not as far-fetched as it has become today. Learning is democratized. So these were two of my major startups. Like I've had a lot of incidents where people came up to me and they were very often like, I started two startups and they became successful. But that's not the fact. It seemed like I just wrote A, B, and they just became successful. And that's not the fact. And I do not consider them successful yet. And I do not think I ever will. I feel success is this word that's been put out above, and it's hanging above our heads, putting this huge burden on us for no reason. And the biggest thing is success. It's not a thing that can be attained, and it's something that shouldn't be attained, because when nothing is perfect and nothing is successful, because success is what you see ahead of you. It's the horizon. You can't catch up to it. And if you do, there's another success you're looking for. Like I remember I started writing. So I remember there was this incident when I'm very bad at essays. So for a 200-word essay, I used to write like 40 words. Okay, that was a joke, by the way. Yeah, thank you. But I decided to write a book. And I published it in November 2018. And it went on to become an international bestseller. It was #1 in the United States for startups, #1 in Japan for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And that's what it's called. Know it works before it works. Like this was the second cover, and I needed to, and a lot of people were asking me for autographs. So I decided to put an autograph on the book cover itself. Yeah, so that's the signature there. So that is the beauty of doing unconventional. You do not need to follow what your books don't have autographs on the cover page. What? That's conventional. Why cannot? There was no good reason which would tell me that I cannot put an autograph on the front page of my book. So I did it. And therefore, everyone who gets a book is a signed copy. So, yeah. So it was called Know It Works Before It Works. Thanks to a ton of people who came up to me and said they thought of Uber before Uber was invented. They thought of K-Star before K-Star came in. They thought of all the companies that ever came in before they came in. These amazing visionary uncles. And I decided to write a book for them. So next time you have an idea, know it works before it works. So for all the reasons, they couldn't go ahead and make the next Facebook, and they couldn't be Mark Zuckerberg. And Mark Zuckerberg is not a 70-year-old. All of them can read this book and they can start their companies. So it's basically more about how an idea can actually be taught within before it is actually implemented. And an idea, we are never too far from implementing an idea. The only limitation we have is our perception, our encouragement. And that is what this book was about. It was a lot of learnings which I did. I started a couple of stuff, and I had a lot of failures, and I had a little lesser failures in a few, but it involved a lot of lessons. So this was one of my first incident. I wanted to give this to my grammar teacher, by the way. And I wanted to gift her the first copy and ask her to proofread it for me. And I didn't want to spend on a proofreader. But I didn't get through, so I had to spend on a proofreader. So that was sad. So, yeah. Like, what do you see in front of you? Now, I need you to all to close your eyes. Think of all the books you've ever read. 10, 50, 100, 1,000, 10,000. If you've read more than these, please stand up and come here. So, but now imagine the knowledge those books embark on you, the knowledge they've endorsed on, and how much that knowledge enables you to think on a deeper perspective. Now imagine 1,000,000 times that knowledge in 1,000,000th of the effort. It's there in your hands, on your mobile phone, which I hope you're not using, by the way. We all have access to so many resources on our mobile phones. We can learn anything we want. Only thing that needs to be there is the want to learn. Like today, change makers, companies have been put under this segregation that they only exist to make money. And money is not the only priority. It is one of the priorities, but it is never the first priority, and it is never the only priority. It is always one of the priorities. The biggest priority is impact. So people see Microsoft for the money it's made, but Microsoft enabled a computer on every desk. People see Apple for the money it made, but Apple enabled you to hold 1 million songs a few clicks away. And that's beautiful. And we all must go ahead and do this. Not no company exists only to make money, and no human being exists only to make money. We are here always for a more deeper cause than just making money. Money is a dilemma. It's always a much deeper cause that we must stand up to. And so, do you know what you see here? The moon landing, right? So I have a task for you. Remove your mobile phones. It's not a joke. Remove your mobile phones. And put them up in the air. Okay, now I'm going to get to know who all were listening to my talk, by the way. Okay. So now you hold more power than what was required for this amazing incident in your hand. Isn't that wonderful? Keep the phones up. Yeah, I was made to do this in my class, by the way. So, okay, I'm enjoying this. So you hold more power than what was required for the moon landing. Feel the power. And this power embarks a responsibility. Like Spider-Man says, what does he say? With great power comes great responsibility. And that's beautiful because when you have this power in your hand, this mobile phone, it enables a responsibility onto you. It enables a responsibility to go ahead and create a change. Next time, instead of fighting on Twitter, promote a change. Next time, instead of spreading fake news, be the source of positive news. Next time, instead of standing against a big change, create the change. We need to embrace changes. We need to be the ones to create a positive change. I was reminded by the TEDx team of this talk you had last year for hashtag moonshot, which really got along. So today, you all have the power to go for your moonshot. Your mobile phone has enough power to give you a moonshot. Go for it. We all have the power. And it is, imagine if everyone put in a little effort, everyone went ahead and made the world a little better, regardless of nations and ideologies, as one entity, all mankind came together to create a change, came together to use the internet as a catalyzer for their change. If everyone came together to create the change, embark on a change, wouldn't it be beautiful? Everyone just made the world a little better. 8 billion people made the world a little better. It would be beautiful. And it's our responsibility to catalyze a positive change. Thank you very much.